Hey, good morning, everyone. It's been pretty hectic lately, and I haven't had a chance to really do much on the boat, but I got it back to the house this morning, and I'll show you what I've done so far. Okay, telemarketers. Anyway, I'll show you what I start working on, the things that would prevent me from going out on the boat. I knew that the trim tilt was not working, so that's where I started. And you can see I got all my greasy handprints all over this thing. I'm sorry I didn't film it when I was actually working on it, but the trim tilt motor is right here, and I had to pull this whole unit off. The problem was I could hit the trim tilt buttons and I could hear the motor running up and down, but the motor wasn't moving at all. So I wanted to get the unit off and see what was going on with it. So I pulled it, and this bottom bolt that goes through here, it goes all the way through, came out really easy. But I'll tell you, this top pin right here, you can see I got some marks and stuff. I tried all kinds of stuff trying to get that thing out, and it just was not cooperating. And I'll tell you, if you ever have to do this, the best thing to do, I had the manual. There's a special tool that you can see right here. There's a bolt you can thread in to the pin, and then you use a slide hammer to beat it out. That's the best way to do it. That thing was super stubborn. I tried beating on it from the back side, and I ended up mushrooming the pin a little bit, and gosh, what a pain. It took me days just to get this one pin out. But once I did, I got the whole unit off. I had to take these covers off, so it exposed the whole motor, and I had to undo the wiring that runs through this little hole right here and up into the motor, and it's got a couple connections in there. So I did all that. So I had the unit off, and I could hook it up to 12 volts, and yes, I could still hear the motor running both ways, but still no movement. So what I did is I separated the motor and the pump here, and there's two shafts that come together, and there's a coupler, a little plastic coupler between the two, and that coupler was broken. So the motor was spinning, but it was not spinning the pump. So what I did is that coupler, you can't order, you can't buy it. So I ended up just fabricating one. I had a piece of plastic, a circular piece of plastic, and cut it to the right length, and then slotted the top and slotted the bottom and put it in there, and gosh, it's working great now. So I got trim going up and down. The next thing I'm going to tackle, and I'm going to try to do this today. Let me get this cover off and I'll show you, because this is going to be a real pain in the butt too. It seems like everything on a boat is a pain. You try to fix one thing and 3 more things break. So I got to get this little rubber grommet thing put back in where all the cables and wires and stuff run out. I was having a real tough time with that, but the bigger problem I ran into is this oil tank. When you trim the motor all the way up, it leaks. And so I've tried replacing the O-ring and some, couple different things, and it's still leaking. So I was like, what the heck? Well, I looked a little closer, and you can see I got a crack in the neck of the tank here. And the tank is $100, brand new. I think what happened is somebody just cranked the oil cap on too tight, and it split it right there. But before I go buy a new tank, I want to try something I've seen online, and I've never really tried it before. But I tried epoxy in here, and it didn't work. It didn't hold. So I want to try plastic welding. I'm gonna probably drill a hole at the end of each crack to stop it from running, and then I'm going to use a soldering iron and a zip tie, and solder some hash marks in it all the way around, and then use the zip tie kind of like a welding rod and try to plastic weld this back together. So it's a last ditch effort to try to save $100, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, then it's like I'll spend $100 on an oil tank. Other than that, the motor's in great shape. I know it looks old and dirty, but it fires right up. I mean, it cranks first time, and yeah, I don't know, it runs good. So anyway, that's the project for today. And then once I get that done, I may start working on the electrical. That's going to be the next thing. And also, this thing, you can see how far off the back of the trailer this thing hangs. A pretty good bit, so much so that I can actually lift, when it's not on the truck, I can lift the tongue of it just by picking up on it. I have a feeling, you know, I've been really careful so far, but when it's not hooked up to the truck, if you get in on the back, the previous owner said it might pop a wheelie. So I don't want that. That could be bad. So I want to put a little more tongue weight on it. And so what I'm going to do is take the boat loose and then loosen these U-bolts down here and try to slide the whole unit forward. You know, even if I can get it up 6 inches more, if it'll slide in between this wheel here, heck, I might go a whole foot if I can. So more tongue weight's never a bad thing. It'll tow better, make it more stable. So anyway, work on the motor, work on the tongue, and then I don't know, we'll see where I go from there. Probably onto electrical, so that I can get that sorted out. I want to get everything hooked up to the master battery switch, so that I can turn all power off to everything in the boat through the battery switch. Right now, the only thing the battery switch cuts power to is the motor, which is not really useful. I want to be able to turn everything off. And anyway, so that's, once that's done, I can start sorting out all the wiring for the lights and the bilge and all that other good stuff. And eventually, I've bought right here, I got this off Amazon. I think, gosh, from what I remember, this thing was only like $80 or $100, but I got a 100-watt solar panel with a charge controller. So I'm going to try to figure out the best place to mount that. Also, I've been looking at where I could store some extra gas cans and things like that. I don't think I want to put them up here on the bow, but maybe, I don't know, maybe put a board or something in between these two and see if I can, see if they're not going to interfere with my jib sheets. You know, then I could store them up here on the deck. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I still got to figure out here. The other thing I want to try to fix is this contraption they've got the mast laying on back here. I don't like this at all. That's what a janky rig that is. So I'm thinking if I can redo that, I might take these flagpole holders off and see if I can drill some holes through them and mount one here and there, and just have a nice little square tube, a little square arch in the back, and then I could use it to support the mast and mount my solar panel. But anyway, that's the goal. So I'll stay tuned. All right, here we go. I got everything I need here. So I got a super small drill bit. Just gonna drill a tiny hole at the end of the crack. Got my soldering iron heated up. Got some zip ties here. We'll give it a go. I guess the good thing is I'm not gonna break it any more than it already is. Yeah, that epoxy is just coming right off. It doesn't like the oil. Look at that. All right, there's one hole. Okay, got a couple holes in it. See if I can burn some hash marks in it to oh yeah, this is working pretty good here. Now we'll get in with the zip ties here. Use it kind of like a welding rod. Here, let me give you, see if I can give you a close-up of what I'm doing here. So, it started off kind of black. I think that was just cleaning the soldering iron tip off. And it's not pretty, but it seems to, like, that is probably going to work. I'm just going to keep on going around here. Let's see what we got. Moment of truth here. Put the cap on snug, and we'll trim it up. It's all the way up. Let's see what we got. Guys, I think I fixed it. I'm going to give it a minute, but I don't see any leaks. Hey, you know what? I'm going to call that good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to degrease this motor because that oil's been dripping and just was running down all over everything up front here. And I got all my greasy handprints, and I can't even get a hold of this rubber thing right here to try to get it back in place because it's so dang slippery. So I think I'm going to degrease everything now. All right, I got the oil tank sealed and I got the engine cleaned up. I just sprayed it down with purple power and brushed it. I cleaned out, not sure what you call this little area right here, but it was pretty oily. I cleaned it out too. All right, I forgot to film me putting the cables and stuff back in that little rubber grommet, but I did end up getting it. I just had it turned the wrong way. So here's what it looks like. So I got all my cables running out through the little grommet. Now, moving along, we got the engine done, tank fixed, trim tilt fixed, got everything put back together, cleaned up. Something else I did while I wasn't filming, I took a little lunch break, but came up and put my boat numbers on. And now I think let's try to tackle this. Shouldn't be that bad, I don't think. I'm gonna get some PB blaster and spray it down good so the bolts come loose. So I'll just loosen this and the other thing there. I can't think of the word, but anyway, I'll just completely disconnect the boat from it, which should, and it had no load on it, and then I'll loosen everything and just get a hammer and knock it back. So should be easy enough, so stay tuned. Wow, that thing really lifts up when you let the load off of it. See that whole boat? Golly, it does. It needs to go up on the trailer more. it's pretty good. Kind of moved it about a foot. You can see that's where it was. I moved it all the way back to here, so I should scoot it up on the trailer some. Okay, now I've got everything tight, but now I got a gap between the front of the boat and the winch. So I'm gonna try a trick that I used to use on my old Yamaha, where you just start going and then you slam the brakes on and get the boat to scoot up. So I'll film it, so at least there's a record of my stupidity when it goes wrong. Anyway, we'll do that now. Stay tuned. Might have to get a little more speed. We'll try it again. Well, I'm not going to push it. I got it a little bit closer here. See, still not on there, but good. I got everything accomplished today that I had planned. Now I can, I guess I can dive into the electrical and see what's going on there. So stay tuned.